Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to our Danaher Coffee Chat series. I'm Adria Bowen, your Key Account Manager for Danaher. And on behalf of our entire team, I want to thank you for carving out the time in your busy schedules to join us for episode 2 of Agile Integrated Manufacturing Processes in Action. It's interesting. Today's conversation comes at a critical time when many of us are navigating the delicate balance between modernizing our operations and maintaining the compliance and quality standards of our business that our businesses depend on. And we've designed this as kind of a casual conversation to go over some of those items, and hopefully you'll get out of this a huge benefit of ways that you might be able to improve across your businesses going forward. As we go through this conversation, please feel free, it's a casual conversation, please feel free to use the chat feature for questions throughout, and then we'll address those questions during our dedicated Q&A at the end. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my partner here, my associate at MasterControl, Mooch. He is the Director of Product Management, and he'll be going over some of these benefits today on integrated manufacturing processes. Thanks, Mooch. Go ahead.
Thanks, Adria. And welcome, folks. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Mooch. As Adria mentioned, we're going to have some fun today. So if you have any questions, anything comes to mind, use the chat. Happy to answer them at the end. But this is basically what we're going to talk about today around this topic. So we're going to talk about our current operational pain points and kind of what we're doing at MasterControl to address some of that for our customers. So it really starts with those existing pain points that we kind of alluded to. And we kind of see this when we talk with many of our customers. They're either coming from legacy systems or they're still on paper, believe it or not. So 70+% of the folks that we talk to in the market generally have some form of paper still on the shop floor. And that leads to a lot of problems, right? Or legacy systems that are disconnected. Things like manual process, disconnected systems, they lead to a lot of manual rework, time-consuming activities, increased deviation rates. All of that adds extra burden to your organization and slows down throughput as well as review and release times. One of the more important pieces, right? Limited access to data. So if you've got siloed systems or paper-based systems, it's really hard to actually take the information out of there in order to better understand your process and make better decisions. So we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing there. Integrating with some of these legacy systems and generally non-system concepts like paper is very expensive or difficult, right? And that just further prevents the access to data and automated actions to be able to kind of improve your process speed and understanding. And generally, there's a lot of inconsistency around what tools are on the shop floor, what access people have access to, which leads to kind of increased turnover and lost opportunity. So whenever I get into this topic, I like this quote from James Clear. This is kind of the way we're thinking about our MasterControl products, specifically myself on the Manufacturing Excellence platform. A lot of times change is not necessarily about doing something net new. It's about the little things, right? Doing what you already do today, but better. And that's what we hope to deliver in terms of value to our customers, helping you do the things you already do, focus on the actual work you need to do, and less on some of those low-hanging fruit inconsistencies and non-value added activities that you might be doing today. So it starts, I would say, with our core history of our core product here, right? Our focus has always been, and this is kind of a paper view of our EBR solution, production records. This is where we always like to start, but our core focus has always been on configurability, given our quality background in QMS, right? We always have that quality focus connected to our QMS, our documents on the floor. We focus on the intuitivity of the product itself, connectivity to other external systems, and then that access to data to give you better intelligence on the shop floor. So here is a kind of snapshot of the operator view. This is completely revamped. So this might be the first time that many of you are seeing something like this, but we've gone ahead and focused on usability and autonomy for our operators, allowing them to kind of select how they see a batch, how they perform activities on the batch. We had this kind of configurability on our builder side of our application. That's really where we kind of built our sweet spot in allowing customers to build the flexibility that they need. We've now brought this to our operators on the shop floor so they can focus on mobile use, change their views, easily navigate around a batch, easily be able to use the tools to be able to get their work done, which ultimately leads to better value to you as the customer. So, like I mentioned, we kind of started with putting the power in your hands on the builder, and we've brought that into now our operator experience. But it's always good to remember kind of the flexibility that we provide with the ability to create your batch records, getting off of manually manipulating paper records or always going into legacy systems to develop some customized processes. All of this is an out-of-the-box builder that allows you to kind of drag and drop and build your configurations as you see fit for your process. And we've enhanced this capability as well. We are looking at, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in a couple of slides down the line, but we are embedding a lot of AI capabilities into our solution. So here you can see an example of doing what you already do, but better. Instead of starting from scratch from a blank canvas, you can now upload your actual processes that might be in paper, might be in an external system. You can upload them into our builder. What we're going to do is consume that information, and we're going to actually give our best first attempt at creating your process, as well as a reasoning of how we thought about that process, and then allow you as the builder to either further communicate with us via a chat or start directly building out your process as you see fit. And again, here, the intent is you can actually focus on your process and less on kind of the paperwork, clicking buttons around, more on optimizing the way you complete your work today. Like we mentioned, we like to focus on our background and quality. A lot of those things are built natively into our application. So things like inline training checks that reference your latest approved SOPs, right, out of the box, deviation tracking. Anytime something unexpected happens on the shop floor, we immediately flag it, we notify the right parties, we bring them into the system to review in real time. All of our workflows are validated. We have our many validation tools, VXT, VOD, that allow you to automatically validate your workflows using the system instead of manually checking them. We've, of course, got our review by exception workflow where quality reviewers can also come in and in real time review all of the exceptions that have happened on the shop floor. What all of this really boils down to is saving you time, right? And that's the point with what we describe here as a return on automation. And this is just a summary of the things that you would expect as benefits when incorporating MX into your processes. We get rid of a lot of that low-hanging fruit you might be doing today on paper or on other systems where you're documenting signatures, right? Moving information from one part of your batch to another, manually checking links or guardrails, manually entering barcodes, those kind of things. We automate a lot of that for you. The system will handle calculations. It'll handle conditional paths for you. If something is running too hot, it'll automatically point you into cooling down your bioreactor, for example. A lot of that stuff you build in automatically into the process, and the system kind of takes care of that for you. Let's talk a little bit more now about the connection. So basically giving you a snapshot of what we're doing here in the middle with MX production records. We talked a little bit about our builder tool, how we've integrated some AI into there, how our operators ultimately execute those batches. Now we'll talk a little bit more about how we're connected to the rest of our products on the MasterControl platform, right? So we've got our bread and butter QX connected to production records, now connected to our CMMS or equipment maintenance management system. And what this gets you is basically natively connected data flow between these systems, better access to data to build the kind of reports that you might expect to get out of these type of systems, all in one, simpler validation, and of course, a unified experience. So you have a single source to kind of access these different applications as you complete your work on the shop floor. We'll talk a little bit more about the benefits of this around the use of data in AI in a couple further slides. But that's an ultimate benefit is we have a single store to access all these data and build applications, native AI applications, embedded AI applications on top of. So as part of that connectivity, integration comes up quite a bit in our world, and we've built a few, I would say, out-of-the-box integrations that our customers typically lean on. So we have today about 1 to 2 integrations per customer on average, and we are constantly getting more and more requests to continuously integrate our application into our customers' ecosystems. The ones that typically bubble up to the top are your connections to your equipment on the shop floor. Think of things like scales, and then your typical master data source. Think of your ERP or warehouse management systems. There's a whole host of other systems that we routinely connect with on the shop floor, other asset management systems, other dock management systems, LIMS, all sorts of topics. Here you can see the examples of all the out-of-the-box integrations that we've built for our customers. And again, the intent here is we can quickly get you connected with different applications so that you can stream data in and out of each application to ultimately complete your work faster and get access to better decision making. So just a point here on our intelligence layer. So we are now ISO 42001 certified. That comes with a lot of security and compliance, but also a layer that allows you to have access to all of your data, actionable and visible in real time. We've also got best practice templates that you can use, out of the box dashboards, out of the box workflows that you can configure to fit your needs, or also start from scratch. So what this does when you have a connected system, fully integrated, all on a single platform, is you can move from being an interactive mindset to something more proactive. So here you can see an example of our insights module where we've got some of these out of the box dashboards with access to your production data, your quality data, your asset data, so that you can use them to understand where you are in your process, what's going on, dig into specific use cases, why you might be tracking higher on deviations within a certain product, right? Which assets are performing or not performing, all out of the box so that you can kind of understand what's going on and make the changes and decisions you need to make. What this also does is now that you have access to the data, it unlocks additional efficiencies. So this is what we're actually focused on in the short term right now. This is something I'm very excited and I'm working on, is the ability to actually summarize your batch in real time using our in-house LLMs, right? So we consider this as a competitive advantage at MasterControl. We have our own ML ops team where we build basically we take off the shelf LLMs and to fine tune them to fit our purpose, right? And in this example, the purpose here is really to summarize what's going on in a batch. And this is an example of the benefit that you might see using our system. You can connect to our LLMs and basically ask questions like, show me what's going on in this batch. How long has it been running? What's the next step? What are some things that you might think we need to look into, right? And what it's going to do is look at all the data within the batch, data outside of the batch in our interconnected system and the quality module, asset module, right? And bring that forward to operators and supervisors. Not only do you get to do that, right, within a batch, but now that you have access to that data, you can actually communicate with it directly. And this is an example of our deviations analyzer module, right, which allows you to essentially chat with your deviation data. This is something we're very excited about, right? So not only can you use those out-of-the-box dashboards or custom dashboards that you might want to build, you can actually build or chat directly with your data itself. So you can ask questions like, what are the impacts of the deviations that have happened over the last week? Show me all the deviations over the last month. All those kind of ad hoc questions that you might have that you would typically need a data analyst to help you support in creating, you can now have at your fingertips with our deviations analyzer. So hopefully that kind of gives you guys an idea of how we're taking our product today and moving it into the future and how we're helping you build and make better decisions within your manufacturing excellence domain. Questions?
So I didn't get anything in the chat. Does anybody have any questions? Don't be afraid. And I also I want to just say something that I didn't at the beginning, but we have a long history with Danaher, so almost 2 decades of business with Danaher Corporate. We provide services to a few of their subsidiaries. I think we have 6 subsidiaries currently that we provide access to the quality, mostly on the quality side, not manufacturing, but we'd love, we're doing these webinars specific to Danaher. They're exclusive to Danaher, and we'd love to hear any feedback that you might have. No? Okay. We are super grateful for your time today. We will be posting a Danaher exclusive webpage. You will get an email when that's ready to go, and these webinars will be within that webpage. They'll also be, I believe, they're going to be sent to you after the webinar today. But you will be able to find them on that Danaher webpage as well.